Hi, I'm Jeanette Roche. This is Bridge City News. Here are some of the top stories we have lined up for you today. A stabbing at a northside home last summer has led to a 12-year-old Lethbridge boy pleading guilty to attempted murder. Plus, Canadian singer-songwriter Corb Lund joins us to talk about his anti-coal mining petition getting the go-ahead. And the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize resurfaces after 11 months in hiding.
Your nation, your province, your southern Alberta. From the heart of Lethbridge, it's Bridge City News with Jeanette Roche.
Thanks so much for joining us. A 12-year-old boy accused of stabbing his 7-year-old brother last summer in Lethbridge has pleaded guilty to attempted murder. The plea was entered Wednesday in Lethbridge Youth Court. The stabbing happened back on August 24th in a home on the north side. According to an agreed statement of facts, the older brother apparently became enraged with his younger brother while their father was not home. The victim hid under some blankets on their father's bed, and the 12-year-old grabbed a knife from the kitchen and started stabbing his brother through the blankets. The 7-year-old suffered 9 stab wounds but survived. The older brother believed the younger brother was dead, so when the father came home, the older brother lied and said an intruder had stabbed his sibling. Police seized a knife at the scene, and their investigation eventually uncovered the truth. The specific motive for the attack was not disclosed in court, but the accused had blamed voices in his head. He had also been researching murder on YouTube before the attack. The boy is currently being held for mental assessment. He is scheduled to be sentenced on February the 11th. A member of the Indigenous Advisory Council working with Ottawa's Major Projects Office says he and his colleagues were not told in advance of the agreement the federal government signed with Alberta opening a potential pipeline path to BC's coast. Grand Chief of Treaty 8 First Nations in Alberta and Council member Trevor McCurdy says not only were they not told in advance, but the Liberal government also did not tap the council for advice on how to move forward.
This is unacceptable. We expect Canada to ensure meaningful consultation takes place in Alberta, not after deals are signed, but before any decisions are made. We are asking Canada to stop turning a blind eye to how Alberta and industry operate in our territory. Ottawa must pay attention. Ottawa must insist on proper lawful consultation. The Prime Minister committed this to us at the Prime Minister's Summit in Ottawa past July, yet we haven't seen the words put into action. For years, Alberta and industry have made decisions on our lands with minimal or no engagement. This must end. Canada has a duty to monitor and ensure that Alberta does not bypass treaty rights, jurisdiction, or consent.
McCurdy says the Indigenous are not stakeholders, they are rights holders. He says that he has told the Prime Minister that any further attempt to move ahead without consultation will result in immediate action, which could include withdrawing Treaty 8 cooperation from joint initiatives and exercising a treaty, constitutional, political, and legal mechanisms to defend their sovereignty. After 6 years of fighting off the potential of coal mining in the eastern slopes of the Rockies, specifically the Grassy Mountain coal mines in Alberta's Crow's Nest Pass, singer-songwriter Corb Lund has had a citizens' initiative petition approved by Elections Alberta. Lund says that his main concerns are the excessive and toxic amounts of selenium that would seep into the groundwater, as well as cattle ranchers whose livelihoods could be at stake. We caught up with Corb, who's in Las Vegas this week performing at the National Finals Rodeo. He tells BCN he applied to get the petition in place as a final straw.
If this was an issue that was real not so cut and dried, I might not have put so much effort into it. But when I first got into this, as I've said many times, it wasn't ecological warriors that brought me into this. It was cattle producers west of Nansen whose family ranches were going to be wiped out by coal mines. And, you know, it's just none of us that are working on this are being paid. And I was at a town hall on Fort Macleod a few months ago, and the ministers were there and Premier Smith was there. And she suggested that if we didn't want coal mines in the headwaters of the Old Man River, we should have a citizens initiative. So that's what we're doing. We put together a legal team and a ground team and a financial team, and it's all in place. And we were approved for our petition last week, and we're just waiting on final initiation, it's called. We have a few housekeeping things to do. And then they approve it, and then we are off and running to get signatures for this petition. And the petition wording is, I believe, Alberta shall prohibit any new mining activity in the eastern slopes of the Rocky Mountains, including permitting, mining, exploration, all that kind of thing. And it's specifically worded to include grassy. If you look at it, on one side of the argument are regular Albertans that just want to keep the water clean, that are working on their own time. And we have scientists that are telling us this is terrible for the water, terrible for air pollution, for the ecosystem up there in general, which is very fragile. On the other side of it, you've got coal companies funded by billionaires, and you've got teams of lawyers, you've got teams of scientists who miraculously come up with different results than our independent scientists. So, I mean, if you really look at that, you can choose. I can't tell you who to believe on this thing, but I've spent 40% of my productive time for 5 or 6 years now, and I've had meetings with dozens and dozens of people, including people on the other side, like CEOs of coal companies, ministers, head of the Canadian coal lobby, and I've weighed all the evidence, and it doesn't add up, man.
Lund says after the petition is initiated, he has 120 days, in other words, 4 months, to obtain approximately 178,000 signatures for the petition, and he's confident he will get much more than that. The city of Regina, Saskatchewan has its first female police chief. Laura Lee Davis was chosen by the city's police commission. She says it's bittersweet in terms of how long this has taken, but she's happy about what it means to young girls and women.
I have two minds about it. One is, I feel kind of sad that it's taken this long for it to happen. But on the other hand, I think that it's a fantastic opportunity for young girls, young women to see that non-traditional roles can open for them. And, I'm really hoping that, if they feel like if they can see it, they can be it. I love that motto. And so, I'm just hoping that it's exciting for young girls and young women to be able to think that whatever their dream might be, that it's a little bit more attainable now. And certainly if it results in more applicants to the Regina Police Service, then that's a really good thing. For me, the values of hard work and treating people with respect are what have really guided me along my career. And I don't think I need to do anything else or be anything else. I hope that my work and the way I present myself speaks for itself.
Davies is a 29-year veteran of the force. She had been acting chief since April when former police chief Farouk Sheikh was suspended from the position. Sheikh was officially terminated in late October after Saskatchewan's Public Complaints Commission found he had engaged in inappropriate conduct. A new study says there has been a significant increase in the number of females going on medications to treat ADHD in Ontario. Historically, the diagnostic criteria for ADHD focused on hyperactivity, which is more common among males. We get more from Hannah Alberga with the Canadian Press.
One of the things that's of note is that females are seeing a really, really big jump here. And that jump is 421% in certain age groups, which is huge. And that's within the 25 to 44-year-old age group. So these are adult females who in some cases might have gone for a really long time without a diagnosis. In other cases, they may have gone to a virtual clinic, which was newly available in COVID to specifically assess ADHD. The first author, Dr. Daniel Myron, he explains that historically, ADHD has been associated with men and specifically with a younger age group. And so that's because the symptom of hyperattentiveness has often been associated with ADHD. But there's also an inattentiveness, which is more commonly a symptom that women have, that females have. And that's really what's being captured here in more recent years.
This study looked at all prescriptions for stimulant drugs such as Ritalin and Adderall dispensed in the province between 2015 and 2023. Nobel Peace Prize winner María Corina Machado has surfaced in Norway. The Venezuelan opposition leader went into hiding back in August of 2024, several days after an election in which she had been barred from running. On Thursday, she spoke publicly in Oslo, and her message has not changed.
I am very hopeful Venezuela will be free, and we will turn a country into a beacon of hope an opportunity of democracy. And well, we will welcome not only the Venezuelans that have been forced to flee, but citizens from all over the world that will find a refuge as Venezuela used to be decades ago. I believe that our experience in Venezuela conveys to the world a testimony that certainly in order to have peace, you require democracy. Democracy is the system that enables peace in a society.
Machado's escape from Venezuela sounds something like out of a movie. Wearing a wig and a disguise, she slipped out by boat on Monday with 2 people assisting her. They reportedly navigated past 10 military checkpoints to reach open waters. The U.S. military was aware of her escape and had apparently been given her exact route. She eventually flew to Norway, where she has reunited with family. Her daughter accepted the Nobel Peace Prize earlier this week. In local news, a motion from Lethbridge Mayor Blaine Higgins saw council vote in favor of requesting the closure of the overdose prevention site last week, claiming the temporary site had served its purpose. The OPS, run by Alberta Health Services, took over much of these services from the previous supervised consumption site in 2020, with a heavy emphasis on recovery-oriented support, according to AHS. With overdose deaths dropping around 90% since 2023, the mayor says the OPS is no longer needed due to significantly less visits, as it was always meant to be temporary. But on Thursday, he went on to clarify the reasoning after an open letter began circulating opposing City Council's decision.
Just over $3.8 million is allocated to that OPS. So, and there's a lot of different services that they do. There's some security that AHS provides around the area. But since the opening and the expansion of the shelter and being able to work with those that are struggling in our community, there's been a lot of great things that our outreach teams, I should say. This is a collaborative effort through many different organizations in the community. Since they've done this is getting us to where we are right now. We should be celebrating this. And I think when I see some of the comments and some of the calls that I've got is well, data doesn't lie, and data's showing a dramatic drop. And this is over years. This isn't over a few weeks. And so we want to continue with that success, and I believe this is going to be part of that.
AHS will have the final say on whether to wrap up operations on the overdose prevention site. On Thursday, the newly established Lethbridge Agriculture Society Board was revealed, and they promised to make the regional agriculture scene a standout with some plant initiatives coming next year. Cody McIntosh will serve as the new director. Raised in the Lethbridge area, he worked with Red Deer County's Agriculture Service Board for nearly 20 years. He, alongside the new board for the Ag Society, made an additional announcement that brings back an old popular event after a 7-year hiatus, Aggie Days.
It is designed for classes or grades 4 to 6, looking to get around 1,000 students over the 2 days. We'll be engaging with school boards and school districts from the area through Ag for Life. We've got the right group running this. We've got the right facility here in Lethbridge, and we've got a lot of excitement from these students. I know personally some kids that have been on it and have missed it over the past few years, so they're going to be excited to see it's available. We're in the early stages. We've got a plan, and we've got the date set for Aggie Days, and we want to get hit the ground running in the new year. And we do have a lot of work with our new board just to determine our strategy and what we're going to deliver, but you're going to see more agricultural programming in the Lethbridge area.
We've got a lot of opportunity to do some good things. We've been working a little bit over the last few months, and I think we've got a really good group. We've got a great director in place, so I'm excited to be part of the team.
Always a good time there. Aggie Days will provide targeted educational opportunities for students from March 25th to the 26th at the Trade and Convention Center. The Interfaith Food Bank in Lethbridge is sending out its thanks to the public and Tim Hortons after receiving half the proceeds from last month's Holiday Smile Cookie campaign. The campaign was extremely successful, according to the food bank, after multiple Tim's restaurants sold out of the cookie and raised 25% more in total from last year. Interfaith will put $23,000 straight to food purchases for the holidays, which is expected to leave an impact on Lethbridgians at Christmas time.
This is the time of year when we generate the most of the donations. It's also when we spend the most money. We see a lot more families coming for help in the colder months of the year. And quite frankly, when we are serving over 1,000 households every month, our food budget is something that is a top priority for us at all times of the year. For us, it's going to feed a few hundred families. It'll provide enough for those hampers that we have to provide. Ultimately, it will go out as fast as it came in, which is always a sad thing because the need continues. But this was really a fun way for us to generate funds within the community and raise some awareness about the food security needs that exist.
The other half of the Tim Hortons Smile Cookie campaign goes directly to their foundation camps. This Christmas, get ready to rock. New West Theatre presents Holiday Rock, a high-energy, laugh-filled production that has audiences dancing and rocking along in their seats. The show lights up the Yates Memorial Theatre from December 11th through the 28th, bringing festive fun for all ages. The co-directors Scott Carpenter and Erica Hunt share more details about this exciting holiday show.
Holiday Rock, this has been a great process. Erica and I have been going for about 4 months now, working on this show, going through the archives, finding our favorite comedy, some of our favorite comedies, some of our favorite songs. There's so much to go through, but trying to figure some sort of cohesive way of putting all our favorites. Big New West Theatre fans that come every Christmas and they bring family from out of town, their family. It's a tradition for them. That's the word I was trying to say. They come every year out of tradition, and that's amazing.
So this show has a lot of best of past shows, and we've dug deep. There's some really old things in there, but they're charming to us. And then we also have some new stuff, and of course we've sprinkled the whole thing with Christmas.
Yes.
It has just this touch of the holiday season to it. It'll be fun. Holiday Rock. Come on down and see it.
Yeah.
It's a good time. Around the holiday season, it's really great because there's a lot of family and friends that come to town and they visit, and sometimes we go, I don't know what to do with them. Yeah. We're like, come on down and hang out with us. It is, about 2.5 hours of just pure entertainment. We're hoping to give you a lot of good laughs, a lot of good music. There's some heartwarming things and some ridiculous, of course, as always. And I think we really have a very fun holiday show for everyone.
It always is. Tickets are available by phone at 403-329-SEAT. That is 329-7328, or online at visitlethbridgearena.ca, or in person at the Yates Ticket Center and the visitlethbridge.com arena. The United Nations Agency for Education, Science and Culture, also known as UNESCO, has given Italian food a special designation. It has added the rituals surrounding Italian food preparation and consumption to its list of the world's traditional practices and expressions. The citation didn't mention specific dishes, recipes, or regional specialties, but highlighted the cultural importance Italians place on the rituals of cooking and eating. We get more from Paolo Santa Lucia with the Associated Press in Rome.
Our Sunday meals. Our grandparents teaching us how to cook a proper tomato sauce, as the one I'm preparing right now, with the sauce that my parents-in-law did. But also the mere act of coming together to share a meal. In the nomination, the Italian committee stressed that eating and cooking is an act of love, a moment to take care of friends and relatives. It's by no means the first time a country's cuisine has been recognized as a cultural expression. In 2010, UNESCO listed the gastronomic meal of the French as part of the world's intangible heritage, highlighting the French custom of celebrating important moments with food. Buon appetito!
It is the last call for many Canadians to get a piece of the $500 million class action lawsuit that accused Loblaw Companies Limited and its parent company, George Weston. Canadians have until Friday to submit an online claim if they bought packaged bread between January of 2001 and December of 2021. That's a big time frame there. And did not previously accept a gift card from Loblaw. Those who filed a claim could receive $25 within 6 to 12 months after the deadline. The Ontario Superior Court approved the $500 million settlement in May after the companies were accused of engaging in an industry-wide scheme to fix the price of bread. Stats Canada says the amount Canadians owe relative to their income climbed higher for the fourth consecutive quarter. The agency says the ratio of household credit market debt as a proportion of household disposable income was 176.7% in a seasonal adjusted basis. That's up from 176.3% in the second quarter as debt continued to grow faster than income. In other words, Stats Canada says there was $1.77 in credit market debt for every dollar of household disposable income in the third quarter. Stats Canada says the country posted a merchandise trade surplus of $153 million for September, its first surplus since January. The result came after a trade deficit of $6.4 billion in August. Stats Can says total exports rose 6.3% in September to $64.2 billion, its largest percentage increase since February of 2024. Exports of metal and non-metallic mineral products increased 22.7%, while exports of energy products rose 5.8%, boosted by higher volumes of crude oil. Now let's take a look at today's markets.
The TSX was up 169 to 31,660. The Dow was up 646 to 48,704. The S&P 500 is up 14 to 6,901, and the Nasdaq was down 60 to 23,593. West Texas Intermediate oil was down 58 cents to 58.89 US per barrel. Natural gas was down 36 cents to 4.23 US. Gold was up 53.45 to 42.7909 US an ounce, and silver was up $1.78 to 63.55 US an ounce. Feed wheat is at $7.57 per bushel. Barley is at $5.99. Canola is at $14.05, and corn is at $7.37 per bushel. Live cattle are up $3.57 to $2.30.37. Feeder cattle January contract was up $5.02 to $3.43.40, and lean hogs were up 95 cents to $83.40. The Canadian dollar was down slightly over the past 24 hours and currently sits at 72.60 US.
Recapping one of our top stories, one of the members of the Major Project Office's Indigenous Advisory Council is speaking up about the pipeline MOU between Alberta and Ottawa. Trevor McCurdy is the Grand Chief of Treaty 8 First Nations in Alberta, is saying the Advisory Council heard of the pipeline agreement between Alberta and the feds at the same time members of the public did. McCurdy has told the Prime Minister that any further attempt to move ahead without consultation will result in immediate action, which could include legal action. The Alberta government has been passing bills through the legislature using the notwithstanding clause to the dismay of the Alberta NDP opposition, Alberta teachers, and transgender advocates. And now recall petitions have been launched against 20 UCP MLAs, including Premier Daniel Smith. Could these choices to use the clause in citizen-led recall petitions cause an upset at the ballot box? Dave Naylor, news editor of the Western Standard, gives us his take. That is coming up next. Also, when you see news happening in your community, be sure to send us an email at info@bridgecitynews.ca. You can also visit our website or YouTube channel anytime to check out more of our stories and interviews.